This is Unscripted Her. One family, four voices.
Welcome, Unscripted Her family. We are back.
Hi, season 2.
Look at the camera, James, if you're going to join us.
We got special guests.
And we have our guest star. Woo, woo, woo. And as you know, this is our Unscripted Her. And I'm Darlene. Next to me is my wife, Lynda.
Woo,
right there with the amazing, beautiful baby is Ellen Rice, our founder.
Mm-hmm.
And she is my niece-in-law with her amazing son.
Mm-hmm.
And next to her is her mother, my sister-in-law, Donnellda Rice.
Hello.
Welcome you to Unscripted Her. It's February and Black History
Hi,
Month.
everybody.
Love it.
Hi,
Say
James.
Hi, James. Hi, James.
This is real working from home.
Yes, hi.
Yes, it is.
This is why more than 2 million women have dropped out of the workforce since COVID began. We love our children, but
I'm used to, I did a call the other day and he was sitting right next to me and I was like, so there's a 2-year-old next to me.
Yep.
But I digress.
Right.
Emphasis
That's
on
what we
women.
have to do. But we do it. Yeah. And we do it without complaints. And that's why we are strong women. So
That's why we're unemployed, Darlene.
Oh my goodness.
You said get real. That's why we are strong, unemployed women.
She right.
Yes, I am right.
Okay, I'm gonna take that. We're gonna hit that topic next time. You doing
Women's March. Here comes.
Okay, we're coming.
But as we because this is February, Black History Month, we're gonna talk about our amazing HBCUs. And HBCU stands for Historical Black College or University. I have been blessed to be married into a family where all 3 of my amazing relatives have gone to HBCU. I have not. So they get to talk about it. And I'm just proud to be with them. And be a
Oh, that's so sweet of you.
HBCU made. Woo.
Yeah. Oh, you're wearing Howard Divinity for Dad.
Yeah, and how it's
well, let's address who are you repping today, Donnellda?
I'm representing
I'm sorry. Which HBCU are you representing today with your paraphernalia?
Oh, that's so sweet of you. I am wearing Lincoln University, which is my undergraduate school, and that's where I attended, and that's what I'm representing.
And you also went to?
I went to Howard University School of Law, but I'm not wearing a paraphernalia. Okay, I am repping without paraphernalia.
And then so Ellen, and please give us your collegiate, I should say robe, because yours is nice and long.
Well, I was just gonna do the HBCU, the underground, the foundation. Yes, I'm not gonna get into an argument over the real HU over here. We already know what it is.
No.
Hampton University, that's what I'm representing. This is HBCU made. This has all, not all, but I'd say a snapshot of some amazing HBCU grads.
Barbara Jordan.
So, but I'm repping for Hampton University. Go Pirates, my home.
Amen.
Go Pirates. Yes. And Lynda?
I am repping for Howard, which is mine and Donnellda, my sister's alma mater. But it is also the alma mater of our parents. And specifically our father attended Howard University School of Divinity, which is why you see me in a Howard Divinity shirt. And I will say, there's no need to know what the real HU is. You all can say what you want in your comments and we'll welcome your input, but the fact will remain the same. Howard, there you go.
It's all love.
So we want to start with our founder, Ellen Rice Cheevers. Ellen, okay, like we said, Black History Month, we're talking about HBCUs. As you mentioned, you went to Hampton University. I wanted to know, given this, I don't know what to say, tumultuous time, this political time, this crazy time, everything that's going on, including COVID, how do you think your HBCU prepared you to thrive during this time? Amen.
You know, I can't even just limit it to this time, but what it did was it really gave me a foundation to let me know that I mattered. I was smart and I was intelligent. It gave me a foundation to fight against something that creeped up when I went to MIT, which is imposter syndrome. You see, when going to a school, an HBCU like Hampton, you're around diverse people, but most people of color. They're smart, they're articulate, they're motivated, they have different skills and talents. And so you feel like you belong. You have a sense that, we're all smart, we're all working hard, we're all going to be successful together. And it reminds you that you belong. You belong in an academic environment. You belong in a corporate America, because that's where you're all training for, or to be a teacher, or to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, go into the creative space. And so it gave me that foundation, instilled that in me, so that when I walked in other places where I was the only, which is the reality is once I left the HBCU, I was pretty much the only in every professional and educational setting afterwards. I could pull from that foundation and that lesson and that feeling, understanding that, you do belong, you are worthy, you are capable, you're talented, and you're bright. And it gives you that strength to get through wherever, God is calling you to go.
I love that. So what I hear you saying is it gave you another road of confidence, if you would say, right? So you just, right, exactly. Love that. I love that. Can you give me another point? You said something. You mentioned MIT. Do you believe that going to an HBCU really paved the road for you to want to continue your education?
Yeah,
you did your master's and then you did another.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I did my first master's at Georgetown in public policy, and then did my MBA at MIT. And I think that, it motivated me to want to continue to pursue, higher education. It certainly, again, told me that I was smart enough and good enough to do so. So we're doing a handoff of the baby. So yes, my mother-in-law is here. Hey, you gotta make it work.
Thank you.
You gotta make it work. So she got him off my lap though. So thank you.
And my last question, I was gonna say my last question for you, Ellen, is I guess we all want to know, are you gonna make baby James go to an HBCU?
So it's funny, my husband is an HBCU grad too. He went to Norfolk State, and we talk about that all the time. I'm not going to make him, but I will encourage him and expose him. So I want him to go to the best school for him. But I certainly will expose him to HBCUs and the culture and instill in him, the understanding, the value. So, if that just, I won't say persuades, but if that motivates him to go to an HBCU, that'll be awesome.
If it colors his perspective.
If it colors his perspective, I like that. Said like a lawyer. But yeah, so that's where we are with that.
Yeah. Can I say something? Lynda can relate to this, and Ellen. Anytime we went on a road trip with Dad, we went on many, even if it was out of the way by, say, a day. If there was an HBCU anywhere within a day's drive of where we were going, we had a tour. And so I think Ellen had that experience, and that may have colored her perspective, maybe not. I know Lynda and I certainly had that experience. My father, oh gosh, we saw them all.
Thank you so much, Ellen Bellin. That's what I call her. She's my Ellen Bellin, our founder. So I want to go to Lynda. Hey, Lynda. Now, as you know, Lynda's HBCU is Howard. But interesting enough, unlike Ellen, Lynda's HBCU, she did it she went to HBCU as a grad chapter, and where Ellen went as her undergrad. So I just wanted to know the difference, Lynda. Pledging, you pledged undergrad, but you went to an HBCU as your graduate degree. Yes. Do you think you may have missed anything by not going to an HBCU as your undergraduate, like Ellen?
Sure, I missed some things, but I don't regret the choice and decision I made, and it was by design. I wanted to go to an HBCU. I also wanted to attend so-called majority school, shall we say, for lack of a better word, a majority university. I knew that I would go to the HBCU for graduate school, law school, but that I wanted to go to a majority university for undergrad. And my thinking at the time was I had gone to a relatively diverse high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia High School for Girls.
Girls High.
Girls High, also known as Girls High, which at the time was pretty darn diverse. And I felt privileged, if you will, to even have that opportunity, because it was a public school in Philadelphia, but it drew from a student body that was international. Having had that opportunity through high school, I decided, let me just surround myself with white people, because they're in the world and they were running things a lot more at that time than perhaps even now. So that's what I did. I wanted to be able to be comfortable and function and feel good about myself in that environment where others did not look like me, didn't sound like me, and came from a totally different background. So that's what I got going to Penn State. But going to Howard gave me that full-on HBCU experience. Maybe not full-on, maybe certainly not as full as if I had been on the undergraduate campus. So yes, going to Penn State, we didn't have the battle of the bands. Our bands would be considered probably corny by HBCU standards. You know, the big wow moment was when the drum major ran out and jumped up and just came down. He didn't do a split. He didn't do a back bend.
No back bend, no split.
He didn't cabbage patch. He did none of those things. He just ran out with a perfect high kick. He did have very good high knees, but then that was pretty much it.
When you talk about your HBCU, you get so animated and you get so excited. That's why I know you really
got to.
Right, you just have to. Do you believe that going to an HBCU, when you go into court, because you're an attorney, and do you walk in there with the confidence? Because sometimes I know Lynda has told me that she's been in certain courtrooms where she is the only Black. Do you walk in there with a confidence that maybe it started at an HBCU, or did you have this confidence at Hampton? I mean, I'm sorry,
no, that's okay.
Did you have it at Penn State as well?
Oh, at Penn State. Okay.
Yeah. Did you have it there?
No, that's a good question. I never really thought about that.
That is a really good question.
That is one.
I didn't know you were gonna bring your A game.
I'm
force me to dig deep. I was just gonna keep it superficial. Anyway, you're right. There is a definite sense of confidence when I walk into. I love walking into a courtroom being the only Black person. It was like that in the beginning when I first started practicing, particularly in some venues in Virginia. Less like that now. Where does that confidence come from? I think having gone to Howard, that's probably more likely where it came from than having gone to Penn State. Penn State gave me the ability to feel perhaps comfortable, but not necessarily confident.
Hey, big sister, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you, dear?
Fine, thank you. So Donnellda, the ice really did save the best for last. Not that everyone was the best, because we're all great. But I say that because of your history.
But it was chaotic for so many reasons, not just the Vietnam War. It was the ending of the most recent civil rights uprising. It was just chaotic.
It was the birth of that era of the Black Power movement. I mean,
yes.
Panthers were prevalent then. It was all about Black Power. You had your big afro.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
You went upstairs with straight permed hair. You came down with this.
You did. I saw the pictures with the afro.
Yes.
I love it.
We should try to plug one in.
Your college graduate photo is you in that big afro. I remember that.
You're right. I remember that too. What was your question?
I remember visiting Lincoln's campus, and that was my first experience seeing the stepping. And I was looking out the window at these men, and they were just hopping and jumping up and down the yard there, the quad as they call it. I think it was Groove Fi Groove.
Which is a whole
I think they were
a whole another story. Yes.
Yeah, we'll say that for another day. But
and Darlene, that's how you color that experience. You bring them up for those fun weekends, and they're just like, wow, look at that men are dancing across the yard.
Right.
Well, that's true. You had asked earlier, were we doing the college tours with our daughter, Candace, who is a junior? And I'll pose this question to Darlene when the time comes. But I will say, yes, we are. And in fact,
Definitely.
I was talking to Darlene earlier today because I realized we haven't taken her to any majority school. And I think we're doing a disservice and not. Oh, I'm going to though. I'm going to.
Yeah, I think it's important too. Like I
do.
I think if the school would take them to the majority schools and those people would come in and visit and they would do the recruitment tours. So I never really thought about it. But anyway, go ahead. What's your question, darling?
No, I'm just glad that you guys have this banter, and that's amazing memories. A lot of people can't say that. So now you're going to this HBCU. It's in the height of the craziness like we're in now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel a sense of pride walking into school every day, going to that HBCU?
I wouldn't say it quite that way, but what I did have that was a positive experience for me was I was editor of our school newspaper. I was the first woman because Lincoln had been an all-male school, but it wasn't just that. Our editorials were submitted on statewide basis for various contests, blinded. We won. We took all of these awards. We were published in the New York Times. We were published in the Philadelphia Inquirer. And I don't know that I would have gotten that extraordinary experience of being able to be in that leadership role, or to be able to just know that I could call up a reporter on the Philadelphia Inquirer at the Times and they'd answer my call, and that I had the validation of the state awards for our school newspaper and for my own personal writing, because I don't know I would have gotten to be editor. I don't know, and when I say I would have gotten, those opportunities didn't always go to people who look like me who are at majority schools. I mean, President Obama was 25 years behind me, and wasn't he the first editor?
Editor.
Exactly. So had I gone to some of the other school choices available to me, I don't know if 1974, walking in the door with my afro, 74, 75, saying I want to be editor of your various this, that, and that, I would have been fighting a double battle. Mm-hmm. I mean, at Lincoln, I was dealing with a little bit of,
Oh, I said definitely Black and female.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. And it would have been, it would have been a different battle. It would have been like a different experience. Yeah. But instead, at Lincoln, I was an incredibly supportive experience. Never had an issue with anybody about the gender role, except a few of the older alumni who were there when it was all male. And you're very politely, said, well, it's not that way anymore, sir.
That's right.
You give them that face.
I did. It's just not that way anymore, sir.
That's that face.
I don't know what I should do. But when your daughter comes, I'll encourage her. There was a real paternalistic bent to when I went to school and to when my father went to school. Dad still went for family meals on Sunday. At Lincoln, we did not family meals, but family style meals in the cafeteria. We went to church. The president of the university was in church with us. It was all a very paternalistic family atmosphere. And that it was a small school.
I would venture to say maternalistic as well, because I'm sure there were dorm mothers that were keeping an eye on.
Well, exactly. You had dorm mothers, and Ellen at Hampton, they had very maternalistic dorm mother students. Remember when you had to clean up?
Yes, Hampton was very maternalistic and had a strong sense of community. Much of what you're saying was relevant, years later when I went to an HBCU, and even to this day. So, really looking out for the students, like you said, Lynda, saying, telling us that we were that good, but also, some of the students may not have had as much mentorship or exposure to certain things. So even teaching how to dress for an interview, even providing clothes for an interview. Mm-hmm. If a student needed clothes, you could get them through your HBCU. There was no doubt, if your roommate or classmate didn't give it to you, a professor was going to give you the clothes that you needed to do your interview.
Exactly.
And make sure.
And might drive you to it if they had to. I remember Mayor Berry's wife, Ellen broke her foot. Mayor Berry's wife was one of her instructors. She came to the dorm to teach her because Ellen couldn't get out. That's a totally different atmosphere. Yeah. God bless Effie. And another thing, the funny story, Ellen called me one night to say they had gotten up in the middle of the night to clean around their dorm because some other people had dropped trash, and Hampton ladies don't allow trash in their dorm yard.
Yeah, Twitchell didn't play. That was our dorm room. So
yes. So to me, if you put in being called in that way, into the context of what it was like at the time, it just was okay. Nowadays, if I went into a school, I'd be like, no, that's not how we talk.
Mm-hmm. So my next question is, do you believe that's why you went to another HBCU?
Oh, no.
Why didn't you go to a majority?
Okay, well, I had to tell you this. I also got to do things like escort Maya Angelou when she came to visit for a day. I was her escort, thanks to the president of the school appointing me the escort. And I mean, just all sorts of opportunities. I went to Howard because Reverend James Donald Rice Sr., my father, wanted one of his children to go to Howard. None of them had done it. He took me on a tour of Howard.
You're the oldest.
Huh?
You're the oldest.
None of them had done it. You were too young. Donald Jr. didn't do it. So he takes. My father took me to Howard University for a tour, and we get there, and he stops. He says, "Look over there. That's the spot I proposed to your mother, Ellen. I just want one of our children to go
is my
to an HBCU, just one. But my daughter is not sure." I went to Howard.
Really? Did you feel any pressure?
I love that story. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's how I wound up at Howard, because of Lynda's father and Ellen's grandfather.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Graduate of Howard. But he not only went to Howard, he went to South Carolina State as well.
Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And your mom went to Howard.
My mother went to Howard as well.
Yes,
that's how they met, and I can show you the spot where they proposed. I thought I showed it to you, Lynda and Ellen. When we can go outside again, I'll show you that spot.
Thanks so much, Donnellda. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing everything about it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, for fun facts, and I really just want to put this out there because, Ellen mentioned this earlier, and I was really taken aback that Donnellda's pedigree is similar to someone very famous. And I'll let you know his name. His name is Thurgood Marshall, first Black on the Supreme Court Justice. And Ellen, if you could share with us how they are the same.
Sure. So I thought that was really fun. So they both went to Lincoln. Mm-hmm. They both went to Howard Law, and they both graduated first in their class at Howard Law. So we both made the wall at Howard Law. So maybe we have a future Supreme Court Justice with them.
Yes. So you're on the wall, Donnellda? You're on the wall? I love it. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. See, there it is. And the reason we brought this up, and we were just discussing it, it is not to impress you, but it is to press upon you to strive for greatness. And be proud of it. And be proud of it.
Let people know. I have a question for you.
Yes.
We were discussing our daughter, and your experience was at a majority school. Where did you go?
Okay. So
I'm just going to school, darling.
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to take it back actually to high school, because we spoke about even the difference between a woman and going to an all-girls school. I went to an all-girls high school.
Really?
Yeah. St. Raymond's Girls Academy. Then my mom kept it up, because it's interesting in our household, she didn't push being Black so much as being, how about us having a great education. And for some reason, my mom was so bent on the Catholics. She sent me to a Catholic college as well. And it's called—
What was your college?
The Catholic college is called Albertus Magnus. And
I thought so.
Yeah. And one of their claims to fame was they were a sister school of Yale. Well, I found out not really a sister school of Yale, but they were right next to Yale.
So we're those Yale
like, really?
Fine,
but I did use Yale's library as well as the stacks, and just meeting amazing people. So
that's awesome.
So coming from that, not just a majority experience, but an Ivy League school experience to some degree, which Yale is, how are you directing Candace in her school choice as she maneuvers through these waters now? And also now might be a good time just to tell everyone, we attended the Alfred Street College Fair last year, in January of last year.
Yep.
This year is going to have to be remote. but it is coming up, and we'll put some information on our site for that. But this is an excellent opportunity, particularly since it is remote, for people all across the country to participate. And I believe registration is still open, so we want to get that up as soon as possible.
Only $5. So.
Yeah. And you should mention every HBCU attends. Admission is available on site that day.
Yes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars of scholarships are available on site that day. Well, on virtual that day. It's an extraordinary opportunity for anyone.
Baptist Church of Alexandria, Virginia's annual college fair.
An HBCU can only heighten our greatness. And I truly
love that. I love that. It'll make you strut when you're the only.
What? Yes. And it'll make you think you are never the only. It will.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you'll see
right there.
over your shoulder, you'll see a whole long list. Yeah. But I got to tell you guys, my most fun experience at Lincoln University. So this is where Langston Hughes went. And I am a big, big fan of Langston Hughes. And I found out that the dorm he attended is one of the old historical dorms. Well, two things. Lincoln University was a site on the Underground Railroad. You could go into places where people could move their closets. And of course, these were private homes, but they loved letting me in. And they would move their closet door and there'd be a false back. And you could follow it down the steps and go out under the house. And this is how they brought in, enslaved people who were escaping and hid them. And then the other thing was the dorm room where Langston Hughes lived. I went to the dorm room. I knocked on the door. There were two nice young men there. I explained to them that Langston Hughes had lived there, and I needed them to leave for an hour and let me just absorb the ambiance as I read my favorite Langston Hughes books. They did. They went and had dinner. They came back and said, "Do you want some dinner?" I said, "No." They let me stay there for a couple of hours. I don't know if that happens at every university. They let me, I touched his desk. It was one of the best experiences. Obviously, I remember 45 years later.
That's beautiful.
Thank you guys if you're watching.
Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Look, we all want to go to Lincoln University and have that same experience. It'll be different with different people, but I want to go and sit there for hours.
Oxford, PA, in case you wondered where it is.
It's not even far.
Maybe 45 minutes outside of
Yeah. Well, it was a really beautiful experience because it's an isolated campus, rural, but walking along the back road, because literally it is a back road, and knowing this is where people, the church at the front of the school, the pulpit is a false pulpit. You can go down in it and come out the graveyard in a false grave.
Yeah, a lot of these schools were connected to the Underground Railroad. So we'll get another episode and we'll get on
that.
Yes. As we move towards wrapping up, there's a couple of things I did want to bring out. We've mentioned some names of the HBCU grads, ourselves, of course. Other names you may have recognized, Thurgood Marshall. I noticed you got a lot written on your shirt there, Ellen.
Yeah.
What is that? What's going on with your sweatshirt?
Can you read out some names? So it says HBCU made.
So these are HBCU grads?
Yes, Kamala is on here. But, before Kamala,
Kamala Harris, our new vice president. Tom Joyner, Richard Wright.
Of the radio? Who else?
Yeah, Medgar Evans, Richard Wright, Jackie Robinson. I don't know if Cab Calloway is on here, but he was a graduate.
Taraji P. Henson, Laura of course, Booker T. Washington, my alma mater, Hampton. Zora Neale Hurston.
Yes.
Tony Braxton's on here. Okay.
Mike Lee.
It did happen if Lil James or Candace, if they do happen to attend an HBCU, they're going to be in good company, and they'll also be in the company because I am the politics nerd of the panel. I'm going to bring it back to politics.
You're saying, Auntie.
Okay, thank you. I just like to point out that the Biden-Harris administration has HBCUs represented literally from the top down, starting with Vice President Harris herself being a graduate of Howard University, our alma mater. But she has a political director, Vince Evans. He's an HBCU grad. Michael Regan, who has been nominated to head the EPA. He went to North Carolina A&T. Former Representative Cedric Richmond out of Louisiana, I believe. He's a Morehouse College grad. He's going to be, or is now, a senior White House advisor.
If you didn't go to an HBCU like
Yeah,
me,
okay.
that's fine too. Send your children, speak about it, and that's okay.
Visit a campus. Go to a football game.
Exactly.
Go
Marry
around
into the
there.
family.
Yeah.
It's there. It's for everyone.
It is. It is a very diverse experience. Nobody will feel unwelcome.
And that was my
Absolutely.
point. You don't have to go there to be welcome. You are always welcome. And
You're a
you
member of the family.
right. And you
Yes.
belong. You belong. And that was
Thank
the
you.
point
That's a beautiful
I
thought.
want to leave. Thank you. From our Unscripted Her family. Have an amazing week.
This is Unscripted Her. One family, four voices.